Good, unbelievable evening, comrades. 5 whole months later.
Yes, 5 months.
Yeah, 5 months. 18th of February 2018, and we are now 20th of July 2018. We finally found time to shoot the summit.
It's pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, there were a lot of questions from you guys during the vlogs, like, hey, what's up with the summit? When is it coming back? Is it canceled? It was never canceled. We've been every time we wanted to shoot it, every week actually, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that it's just about been every week that we've said, okay, we're going to shoot the summit, and then TF's going on, taxis are going on, they come back, and then by the time it's done, okay, we're going to eat dinner. Then you eat dinner, and by the time you get done with that, it's 10 o'clock at night, and it's just too tiring. But what is it now? It's 9:45.
So we found time finally, and here we are. So, traditional-wise, drink of the summit. What's it about this time, Robert?
Yeah, so it's just opened a bottle of Prosecco, pour it in a glass. But Misha doesn't know this yet, but I figured, well, why not have Prosecco tonight? Because our friend Ian Hawksby got engaged a couple weeks ago. So congratulations to them. They were actually one of our first customers to book.
They were the invoice number 1.
Invoice number 1, but second person to message, right?
Yeah, they were invoice number 1 in 2017, and they were invoice number 2, I think, in 2018. So thank you for being very good.
Social media that he's getting engaged, so we'll have a little bit of Prosecco to celebrate that, huh?
Okay, that's very cool. Nice. Another recurring thing is actually we always give something away. But we haven't thought about it, but maybe we can come back later when we're going to discuss something about the M4. Maybe we can give away a lap.
Yeah, we can give away a lap on that. Why not?
Yeah, would be nice. Okay, so, and speaking of the M4 and the taxi in general, the first 5 summits, well, let's say first 3 summits, that the hot topic was, because it was right before the season, is like, Apex has got a taxi license, oh my God, it's going to be taxi. And now we're 5 months into it. So maybe we can share some thoughts about it.
Yeah, I think the taxi program as a whole is running very well. We're selling a lot of laps. I think every one of us is enjoying it, actually. It's a fun program. It's really enjoyable offering it, because before I was able to just, take people for rides occasionally, but now that's actually part of our job, is taking people out on the track. Mm-hmm. We've had people that they made trips to the Nürburgring specifically for one taxi lap. Yeah. They came from California or wherever, and they said, okay, I'm coming to the Nürburgring, I'm going to do just one lap. And that was part of their entire European vacation, was centered around when they could come to the Nürburgring. And so we're actually really getting to experience a lot of people's first time on the track, and also showing people the track in a new way that they've never been able to experience it. Maybe they're fast driving themselves, but then they get to get in a car that's incredibly quick. Or how often do you get to jump in a car with 3 of your buddies and just laugh and just be silly the whole way around the track, because you're flying around the track and through traffic and so on. So for me, the personal aspect has been really neat about it. It's also, obviously, I don't think anyone that runs a taxi could say it's not something that you shouldn't be proud about, is to see your cars out there running on the track with taxi and with passengers. There's a lot of responsibility, so I'm very happy to say that we haven't had any mishaps yet. Ourselves and the other companies, that's a big one. Is if you go on social media and stuff, anytime this year somebody's taxi broke down and everyone was like, oh, what's up with the taxi that broke down? They were just waiting for the juice that it ran into a wall or something like that, when really it was just a technical failure that could have happened to anybody, and so the reality is that whoever's at the door, I'm going to kill him.
Who is it?
Michael from Mantai.
Huh?
Michael from Mantai.
Oh yeah, let them
come in, Mike. So this is Mike from Mantai.
Yeah.
So
also known as Mitch.
Come on in. So we're just filming a summit, and you knocked on the door right as we were recording our video. So now you're our special guest.
I'm in the video now?
Well, you are now.
You are now.
I'll send an invoice.
Should we make a quick pause?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
While we discuss some Mantai racing upgrades. Okay, 1 hour later, Michael is gone. Where were we? Taxi.
Yeah, so when you go on social media, you see a lot of juice about the taxis. It's, and I'll say not all positive. It's not like hype, but it's actually people that are sitting there waiting to see a mishap, waiting to see an incident. And this year we haven't had any accidents. None of the taxi companies have had accidents. And it's a topic where one car actually broke down this year. No contact, didn't hit the wall, no driver failure, nothing at all. But immediately on some of the Nürburgring groups on Facebook, it was, oh, what happened? Did the taxi crash? Did it hit the wall? Blah, blah, blah. And everyone was just ready for it. You know what I mean? So you're not only getting a really positive side of enjoying it and sharing it with people, but you're also getting this negative side that you know the minute that something happens, that if they can take it and run with it, they're going to. They're just like chomping at the bit to, you know, it's just news, it's just media, it's this morbid reality of what, you know, social media is today, and what people want to do is, you know, the more chaos, the more negativity that they can spread it. And so you're really trying to balance the good stuff while limiting the damage side, you know what I mean? But we've had very good luck with the cars. We've had very good luck in terms of reliability on track, and from a safety aspect. You know, we've definitely had some issues like a car getting pushed off, you know, by someone not paying attention and doing two wheels in the grass type of thing. That happens. That's happened to me in private cars, it happens in taxis, but our job is to know, okay, how to handle that situation and make sure that it doesn't become an issue.
Overall, a very positive experience. We were in the beginning a bit scared, I might say, maybe for some things because it's something new.
I think it was new, so I don't know if I would say scared, but you know, maybe uncertain. You're learning.
Yeah, not scared, but uncertain. It's not more for the taxi, but like because it's a whole big program, how it's going to affect the rest of the business.
Absolutely, it was definitely. Yeah, okay, I can see what you're saying. It's definitely a concern. I mean, last year we started in February, March timeframe. We ended up with a GT86 as our first car, and that was what we ran, you know, the whole season, you know, until the mid-season, I should say. And then we slowly started adding cars in, and then everyone says, "Oh yeah, you guys should get a race team. You should get a race team." We were saying, "Well, we'd love to have a race team." Well, the problem is that I said, "Nope, we're not going to go do any racing this year because we need to make sure that the hotel and the rental cars are working." And then we'd actually said we weren't going to do it this year because we wanted the hotel and rental cars to work, and that was before we had a taxi. So now you're saying we're really wanting to refine what is a very new business, right? We're wanting to refine what is a new business. We're developing a new company, and it needs to run. It needs to be efficient. It needs to be smooth. And then you add the taxi program into it, and the taxi program isn't small. You know, if you're thinking from an aspect that the two cars that we're running cost more than the entire fleet of rental cars that we have by a substantial margin, then you have to take in the licensing costs. You have to take in extra staff, furnishing another location, which is a very small amount of furniture that's needed, but it's still the coordination of it, making sure that everything you have is there. Before we were just here, everything was at Apex. Yeah. If you needed something, it was somewhere around here, for sure, right? We lost the odd car here and there where the driver ended up in Odenau or something like that, you know, but that wasn't a big deal. But now we're taking a moving piece with taxi laps, and in some days 55 laps in one day. That's 55 customers if there's only one customer per lap. But let's say that, you know, last weekend we did 55 laps, and if we did 55 laps on one day on a Sunday, and 30 of those were in the M3, that could mean 90 customers going in the M3, and then 25 going in the McLaren. That's 115 customers that we're coordinating, making sure they've signed up. And so our team had to be prepared for that. You're taking cash potentially from 90 people, because it's often that they share, you know, so or you're taking credit cards from 90 people or 115 people. It ends up being a lot of work. It's a lot of moving parts. So that was another thing that, yeah, there was some, okay, here we are, we're just jumping into this. You know, you find out from the Nürburgring the end of February, essentially, or I guess beginning of February if you're getting...
Yeah, on the 1st of February.
Yeah, you find out if you're getting the license, and, you know, we didn't want to be too sure that we were getting it, so that's when you start buying the cars. And you have literally a month and a half to buy the cars, hire the staff, train the staff, you know, and everything like that. I'd been talking with Kathy for a while and said, "Hey, Kathy, you know, do you want a job?" She's like, "Yeah, I want a job." I said, "Okay, wait till the beginning of February. We'll see what we're going to do." So you have everybody just on standby waiting for it. And then all of a sudden the switch is on and you just have to go. Yeah, but it's turned out really well. The entire taxi team stepped up, has done a good job. Everyone's found their rhythm and found their place. And I'm really proud of them. You know, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and I think also all of our passengers can confirm that, because all I can see and read are the positive reviews. Everyone absolutely loves the cars, loves the drivers, the way people drive more and more. It's we have now new drivers, Sven. Yes, Sven, yeah. The way that drivers interact with passengers, sometimes, like, for example, if there's a yellow zone and you need to slow down, they talk a bit about the track history and about a particular section. And we can only hear the positive things. We never heard any complaints.
I've got two people that rode with me that if I see them, I'm going to give them 2 free laps. We put a new set of tires on the McLaren. They were out of the tires that we always ran, and they were garbage.
Yeah.
They were just garbage, and you couldn't safely drive the car to the speed that you wanted to with those tires on, and I was so unhappy with them that those are the only 2 people, and they didn't say anything, but I wasn't happy with it. You know what I mean? And there's 2 people that I'm going to get a hold of and say, hey, when you come back, you're getting 2 free laps, because it was just, the tires were terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and we learned about it, immediately took them off, threw them in the trash, and got something on it that worked. You know, and that's one thing that we have sometimes issues with the supply chain.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so yeah, in general, we're happy, customers are happy, but maybe you can share some like insights about the maintenance of the car, because that's what people have been asking. What are the running costs?
Yeah, I mean the running costs, they're pretty high.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't take cars that were going to be the cheapest car to run. We didn't take cars that were going, you know, we wanted cars that we look at, that I look at and I'm like, man, I want to drive in that. You know what I mean? You guys can't see it. Maybe Misha, you can put this picture up in the vlog or in the Summit. When I look at that picture, I see this. It's a picture of the 720. I see the car kind of coming into the turn. I'm driving. Morin's in the passenger seat. Morin races in this car right here in VLN, N24, etc. He drives the M3 Taxi, and he was out with me, and we just had a blast because the car's so fast. And if Morin's sitting there, you know, busting up laughing at how fast the car is and how nimble it is and how you just throw it around, that says what the passenger can enjoy. But the car, the air brakes up because you're braking coming into the T13. The car's just got a nice pitch on it. The right front wheel's loaded as you make the left-hand turn. It's just, I look at that and I say, I want to drive that. I want to ride in that. And that's exactly what I want, you know. But it has carbon ceramic brake discs on it. It has, you know, McLaren pads are not cheap by any means. Tires, we're putting new sets of tires on it right now every 38 to 40 laps. That means every 40 laps we're putting a 2,000 euro set of tires on it, you know. It uses a decent amount of fuel, putting 720 plus horsepower to the ground constantly, and that's all that it does.
Yeah. That
takes some fuel. So there are some pretty high costs involved in that. The car is registered and insured as a taxi. I'm sure you can imagine what it would cost to insure a McLaren as a taxi on the Nordschleife. So one of our requirements is that we actually have to have insurance as a taxi, and we have to have a written statement from the insurance company that says it's insured on the Nordschleife as a taxi.
Yeah.
That right there puts like a couple
So
zeros
in the documents, it's actually, I'm pretty certain it's the only McLaren 720S in the world that's registered as a taxi in the papers.
Yeah, I believe so. You know, and so there's a lot of costs involved in that. You know, there was a couple parts on, I think we had some brake parts, and Misha just saw the bill laying on the table, and it was 15,000 euro, and I said, yeah, that's barely 5 weeks, you know. You know, so it's definitely, you know, we use it hard. We have already 14,000 kilometers, 13.9, I think Jack was telling me earlier, and we got the car in March, with the end of March, with no kilometers on it, brand new. And
everything, pretty much everything.
Everything's on the Nordschleife. I put about 1,000 kilometers breaking it in, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you could give it a good 12,500 on the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But yeah, so the costs are there to operate on the Nordschleife like that, but it's not a money losing endeavor by any means. If I wanted to make money, and and that was our only mission, we would take something like this. You know, so if someone wants to make money, they're going to get this because the brake pads are cheaper. It goes much further on a set of tires. The tires cost the same, a little bit less actually, and it goes further. You can, if you're driving, you know, nicely, you can get double those laps. You can drive maybe 80 laps pushing on a set of tires, and the brake components cost a third, maybe a quarter of the cost, and they last longer.
And the fuel consumption is also better, I think, because it's naturally aspirated.
Yeah, naturally aspirated. It's much better on fuel. So, you know, if I was looking at it just from a strict business standpoint, then I would take one of these without a doubt.
And that's again why most of the taxis you see out there are Porsche.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, they're smart. You know, they're taking a car that works. It works very well on the Nordschleife, and the components last a little bit longer. Yeah, the consumables. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I guess this is regarding the taxi part. Let's move on to our actually new taxis. So the first came the 991 Mark II GT3 RS.
So that's a car that if you look at Misha's vlog, Probably he'll put it in the comments here on the summit. But we talked about this car, what the history is behind it. It's a car that we will use as a taxi on track days. So, in fact, the next track day will be next Friday, the 27th of July, that we'll have this out as a taxi, and we'll run that. So far, I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The engine sound is tremendous. Right when you shift and you get it at about 7,000 RPM, there's an intake sound. You can hear the suction. You know, it's a really cool sound. The drivetrain is phenomenal. It's a little bit heavier of a car, but you don't notice it. The front end grip is tremendous. I can tell you that the front end on this is much better than on a McLaren. You've basically got a bigger tire. There's just something about the geometry of the setup. You know, it's the front end on it is very, very nice. I would love to have the power that the McLarens have. The McLarens, you can really feel the Aero working at high speed through places like Belfast and the Schwalbenspans between there. You can really feel that power, or the downforce, I mean, and the power as well is nice. But as a package, I'm perfectly happy driving it.
Yeah.
So I really, really do love it. It's a good car. Someone asked me the other day, or earlier we did a little live Instagram thing to see what questions we wanted to answer for tonight, because the questions you asked 5 months ago are not valid anymore, you know. But someone said, "What's my favorite?" And I said, "I don't know." You know, it's really hard to say, because this car's come in and is tremendous. The LT is still one of those cars that you get in, you're low to the ground. The Aero's there, the power's there, the intake noise is there. It's hard to say what would the favorite be. Yeah. So that's the 911 GT3 RS, and then you have the M4. So this M4. I've had it out one day, right?
Yeah.
And I did it all day. I took it on the track day for the entire day, and I took it out for TF that night. I think I did about 35 laps in it that day. Really enjoyed the car. At the beginning, it was a lot of break-in procedure. It was a lot of getting the car. It was a brand new motor, so there was a lot of running in the motor and getting things ready, and then slowly picking up the speed. I haven't got it anywhere near its potential yet. It was a track day, so we can talk about lap times. I think my fastest lap time was right around 7:30. Morin jumped in it and did a 7:15. You know, he's faster than I am. It's his race car, and he wasn't pushing yet. The track conditions were terrible. It was very hot. The track was greasy. You know, so we'll start picking up on it and start pushing a little bit more. But that'll also be fun out on the track day. The thing about this car is it's really neat. It is a race car, right? Yeah. We did 11 laps on one tank of fuel.
Oh, wow.
It's tremendous. 11 laps on a tank of fuel. Sure, we came back and put 112 liters in it, but but that's pretty impressive. Now, that was some break-in, so it wasn't pushing the motor as hard as we could. I think that when we're running full speed, 9 laps is going to be no problem. That's pretty cool. I'm really happy about that, you know, because that's a car that we can go out on a track day, run 9 laps in a row. In the McLaren, on a track day, when you're doing the straightaway, you're getting 4 laps and you're back for fuel. That's tough. You know, so that's one really positive thing about this. Is another thing is the cooling systems in the car. You can run it all day. It was 33 degrees that day, 32 degrees, and it never overheated. It never had issues with that. I overheated inside a little bit without the air conditioning, put the windows down a little bit, and honestly, I was fine. I'd driven the E92 on a hot day like that, and I feel that this is cooler inside than the E92 was. But yeah, so this car is also registered and insured as a taxi.
The full-blown wide-body carbon fiber M4. Registered as a taxi in the papers.
It is, and the brief, or not the brief, but the shine, so the registration paper is 3 pages long.
Because in Germany, you need to put every single modification in the paper to say, yeah, it is approved. So officer.
So it goes down from the width of the axles to the wheels to the tires to everything, from the differential to the coolers. I mean, from top to bottom, everything's the shock, the springs, everything is listed in the papers. But so it is registered and insured as a taxi, because that gives us the option to register it as our third taxi, and the third taxi acts as a reserve. So if one of the two, the F80 or the 720, needs to go in for service, then we could, in theory, put this in. I haven't activated it yet because we only get so many taxis, and you can't just change them whenever you want. So I'm really holding back and saying, do I really want to do this? You know, we have to this date haven't had any downtime other than the white car going for service, and it was gone for 3 days, and we timed it so that it was during the week. That's the only downtime that we've had. So you know, from a business standpoint, you have to think, okay, I have 300,000 euro McLaren and 150,000 euro F80 by the time you put all the mods on it and everything. Do I need to now put another 200,000 euro car into this taxi program? Because at that point, it is part of the budget.
Well, I hear a lot of people saying yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
we
they
want
do.
that.
They do, but you know, you think about it from a budget standpoint, and you say, what is it going to accomplish? You know what I mean? This is a car that's a full race car. It has revision times on it. You know, the differential, you know, all of the drivetrain essentially, the axles. These are all things that you have to, you know, you have to put revision time on. And the more and more that it runs as a taxi, it may not become cost effective. You know, to just add it as a third car.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you see this like, oh, one company has an M3, so I'm going to mod my M3. Then this company says, well, fine, I'm just going to buy an M5. And the other company says, well, we have an M5, so we're going to put our M5 in as well. It just turns into a pissing contest. And it was like I said to you, if I lose 10 laps because someone goes to an M5, right, I've only lost 2,700 euro. Why do I need to go buy a 120 or 130,000 euro car to prevent myself from losing 2,600 euro?
Yeah.
You know, you're better off just to say, hey, go on the M5, and well, that car's out, sell 2 laps to people that are, you know, coming in and wanting some laps. So you have to think of this stuff as a nice business model, because we have some ideas of really cool cars that we can bring in the 4-seater segment, but does it make sense? Are we gonna increase our sales to cover that depreciation, to cover the increased running cost and things like that, when in all reality this F80 is a badass car. It's a ton of fun to ride in. I rode in the back seat today.
Yeah.
I did a taxi lap in the back seat. It was great. I really enjoyed it. You know, so it's not, you know, I think that in this car with the exhaust, with the differential, with the suspension that's on it, I can't think of something that with 4 seats that's going to have that same feel. You know, so you're always looking at this business aspect of it. And if you do bring in this M4 into the taxi, it's as a replacement car with the idea that this car's broken down or that car's broken down or at service, and you swap it in, or you have pre-bookings and you put it in for the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the other way that you can do it, but yeah, you just have to see what is that business case. You know, you can look at just the increased insurance on this car could maybe be, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 for the year. So then you have to think, am I going to get that many more taxi laps, right? You want to offer something for people. You want to, what we're doing here in Apex as a whole is offering stuff to people that they may not get elsewhere. But there also has to be a case for it at the end of the day, that you don't just throw money at every single aspect of it just to make that happen.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a very good chance. I mean,
the car is already registered, so you're already paying that money.
Just getting ready to say, there's a very good chance it's going to go that way, but people are always
Info
asking.
at apex-nürburg.de. Yeah. .com.
Or you can just do apex-taxi.de.
Yeah, and email us and tell us how much you want to have a ride in it. And
Yeah, but I think, but like I said, a lot of people are constantly asking, what's the business thought process of Apex? Because it's a little bit different. And I figure, well, maybe share a little bit of that, you know. So, but what I was going to say is what you led into is that obviously I'm saying this as an argument not to do it, but I went ahead and still registered it and insured it as a taxi. So obviously in the back of my mind, there's you know, there's that thought that it very well could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess we can wait a couple of more weeks and see where it's going to lead us. Let's move on to our next subject because, well, go look a bit more into the future. And we already kind of more or less confirmed that you're going to get the 600LT.
Yes, definitely getting the 600LT. I've already spec'd it.
This is probably, you wanted to say something about the spec or keep it for?
Why not? I mean, so because it's going to be used as a taxi,
That's our next point.
Yeah, so next year the 600LT will be our taxi. The 720 will get retired at that point, and the 600LT will come in. Someone will say, "Oh, but it's, you know."
I have a thing. You should comment now how high the mileage would be of the 720S.
And you get a free lap.
And a person who gets closest to that gets a free lap in the 600LT.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say at the end of the season, which is 18 November or something like that.
Yeah, this is so far.
So let's say last day, last taxi lap. What's the mileage on this car? How many thousands of kilometers? If you guess it right, then you get a free lap in whatever you want.
Yeah.
The kicker is we got the car in March with literally 0 kilometers, like 10 or 12 kilometers on it. And now, 20 July, it has 12,900.
Yeah.
And we're entering the high season. August and September are the two busiest months.
October as well.
And October, so keep that in mind when you're doing your advanced. I'm giving you some pointers on this advanced calculation here. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But the 600LT has been spec'd. You might say, okay, you're going down from the 720 downwards, but on the Nordschleife, it's not all about horsepower. Okay.
Look at the sub 7 up.
Yeah, look at the sub 7 up. I mean, it's no horsepower. It's probably the fastest car I've ever seen. It's about downforce. It's about just mechanical grip, about the driver. And I really do honestly think that the 600LT will be as fast around the track as the 720 is, but I think that it will also have more emotion. I think it's going to be a car that's more raw because just like the standard 675 LT, the first LT of the new modern era, the car is going to have less insulation. The exhaust is up on the back, so they say that you can actually hear it from the cabin really well. So I think it's going to be a car that's going to be quite impressive. It's got a fixed wing, has a huge diffuser on the back, some nice aero up on the front. I think it's going to be a car that's going to be really a lot of fun. I said this to somebody the other day that I think it might actually be the best all-around car that McLaren's built yet. That's my opinion. And that's because it's going to be a car that's in a price range that competes directly with this, and it's definitely going to be faster than this. There's no doubt about it. And I think that that's a pretty neat point to be at, you know, with fixed aero, which is something that car desperately needed, and it's going to be pretty cool. So things that I've spec'd on it, just to do a real simple background on it, are it's Curacao blue is the color. Okay, so it's a little bit lighter than Mexico blue. And then on the interior, I'm doing the upgraded lightweight seats, which everyone has just come to call the Senna
seats. Yeah.
So we're putting the Senna seats, black Alcantara. The entire interior is black Alcantara with a blue stitching, and then it's going to have the 6-point harnesses and a harness bar. So, yeah, there's more to it, but that's the general look.
Yeah,
of
the
car.
basic spec.
Yeah, the basic look of the car.
Yeah, so that's going to be the taxi for next year. So you can actually pretty much pre-book it now. So
I see why not. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, we can start getting it on the books for next year.
yeah, so if you have a trip planned for next year, I guess the price is going to be still $299.
Yeah,
exactly. $299 for a lap. Feel free to let us know, like or you can get a voucher if you don't know the date yet.
And you know, so it's going to be a really cool car. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to driving that car. Yeah.
So many of the questions were, what are your first thoughts? But you already said it, that you think is going to be like generally one of the best cars.
I think it's going to be probably the best all-around car McLaren's built.
Yeah, I think as well, because we have a history with the first with the 570. We loved it for what it is, and we hated it for what it wasn't and what it didn't have, aerodynamics. And you can look.
I'll tell you something. With this, I've been talking a lot with McLaren. With the taxi program, we've had a really good relationship with McLaren, and there has been some discussion that there's an aero pack for the 570 coming out.
Okay.
Designed by McLaren, really cool, really cool. That I'm probably not supposed to say anything about, but I am. But it could be a really neat package for people that have a 570 that want a little bit more downforce. It's something they've tested, put in the aero, you know, in their wind tunnels, modeled, tested at high speeds, which none of these other companies that are building them have done. There's one company in the States that does really good, basically simulations, and I trust what they're doing. But other than that, you have nobody that's really done.
Yeah, exactly. That was the issue when we had the 570. We were complaining about it. Everyone was tagging us in various tuning companies, social media posts who were producing wings. And you're like, yeah, give us like the data.
Some numbers, yeah.
So some numbers.
And I even contacted some big name companies. They said we didn't test them. We don't know what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like they look good, right? You know, that's really what they were built for, was just for look. So, but yeah, so I'm excited about the LT, the 600 LT. I think it's gonna be a cool car. It was difficult to pick the color because I've been wanting.
You went for purple as well.
I really was thinking about Lantana purple, but it's difficult because now I'm liking colorful cars. You know, if they're on the track, they're only on the racetrack. That's fine.
I remember sometime one day someone commented, "Why you have boring colors? Why not black?" Sorry, what?
So, you know, I thought, okay, well, I've got the orange LT. I really thought that my next McLaren would be yellow, but then this came. So now you have this in yellow. I don't want another
volcano
yellow.
yellow.
Yeah, volcano yellow is a really pretty color. And then, so now I am selling the Spider. So I thought, okay, if the Spider goes, then that leaves room to bring another blue car in. So I'm okay with that.
So if you want to buy the Spider, DM.
Yep.
Yeah, what else is there? So the 600LT replacing the 720.
Yes, exactly.
Do you thinking anything about the M3? But I think we've been thinking, but I think we're gonna keep it a secret.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it goes back to what I just said a moment ago, that there's nothing wrong with the M3.
That's true.
It's a good car. It's a fast car. It's very reliable. Very reliable. Constantly in service. It's never missed, a day of TF because of a problem. It's always there. It's always running. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something else with 4 seats that could be pretty badass, but it's just a matter of if it makes sense. And that's something we'll see, I think probably, in the next month or so, how this evolves and how the car continues to run. And I think that's another one. How many kilometers are on that thing now? It's got to be getting close to 18,000. We're probably going to be at 36,000 kilometers this year, easily, probably more, just in track time.
Yeah.
It's been very reliable, very good, great car. Who knows? Maybe there's someone that wants a ring tool that is interested in buying it at the end of the year, because the car is maintained better than anything out there. This car is always on the lift every night. It gets new brakes, it gets new everything. If you look at this car, you would never think that it had 40,000. Well, now 18,000, but when it has 40,000, you won't think that it has that. It's a very, very well running car. It gets, anytime that something even looks like it might have a problem, it's off the car and replaced. So when someone buys this car, it's going to be a car that's going to service them very well for a long time. So who knows, maybe someone says, I want it, and it just goes, and then the next thing comes. We'll see.
Yeah. So again, if you want to have that as well, let us know. We will keep it aside for you. One of the next questions, there were a lot of questions regarding taxi, but we have to move on to our next topic, I think, by now, because we've been already like over half an hour, and usually we keep it around 1 hour. Racing.
But the thing is, we owe them 5 hours.
Yeah, true. 5 months. Well, 5 times 4, so 20 hours probably. Anyway, racing. A lot of people have been asking, like, what's up with the racing, especially since I got my racing license like twice by now. I got racing gear.
Yeah, the racing thing is interesting, isn't it? It's it goes back to what we said, that you're like, okay, we got to make sure the rental cars work. We got to make sure the hotel works. Got to make sure the taxi works. When do you stop? So definitely we want to get into it. For me, the main thing about the racing is it has to be fun. It needs to be enjoyable. And we need to respect what VLN is and what Nürburgring is. I get a lot of crap around here just for coming, and it's an interesting market. You know what I mean? It's an interesting market, but I do get a little bit of crap for just what's sitting in the barn at any given time and the cars that we use. And but that's what I like. I enjoy them, and I want to use them. I want to enjoy them. So at the end of the day, I really enjoy driving any car that we have. Whether it be who cares what it is, but I think that's okay in TF. But when we go and we step into racing, I think you need to step into racing. And I think that you need to go, through the ranks. We're not set up as a race team, We need to make sure that we develop the program accordingly. So I have already met with a race team. I have a couple options, but I met with a race team last week that to me was really important to have a race team that is well put together, that is clean, that is low drama, low stress. They come and they do their business, they do well, they look professional, they operate professional, and they stay out of the nonsense, and that's it. You know what I mean? That's what I want our race team to do. That's what I was looking for in having a team to partner with. And I found somebody that for 2019, we're in the working out stages right now, but we're working out a program where we can actually run a nice little low-level car, which could be a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's looking like a very real possibility for next year. I would say more than very real, very certain possibility for next year to be running in every VLN race, starting with VLN 1.
But we still need to do the RCN to get a permit.
Well, absolutely. That's not a problem as long as we can get the 3 RCNs this year. But even if we have to pick up the first one next year to finish, that's fine. But that's no issue.
So stay tuned for that. Hopefully some racing action this year, and obviously everything will be documented and covered in the vlogs. And I think most of our audience is going to find it very interesting. How can you start racing at the Nürburgring? I'm very much excited for that.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun, actually. It's going to be a neat little story. So. And we're going to bring some neat stuff to it. I mean, On Fridays, we're going to be doing testing. So we're going to do VLN Taxi on Fridays. So right now we've also worked out deals with lounges and so on and so forth. So we'll be able to offer packages VLN Taxi on Friday, then go up to our lounge for dinner that night, and then Saturday you can cheer us on as we, race or whatever and be part of the team and enjoy the lounge. And our lounge is not going to be packing in 100 guests to try and make money. It's going to be set up to enjoy the races and enjoy the space. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun adventure. Yeah.
So at least we're getting somewhere. So more like a good exact answer. So very much excited for that. Next topic. I kind of ask myself, what are we going to do with our next office with Apex Media? Because we signed the contract like what, 2 months ago?
No, not 2 months ago, but a good month and a half. Yeah,
a month and a half at least. Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's still underway. I just haven't got around to it.
It's the same what happened with the summit.
Same with the summit. I knew that I wanted the location. Do you know that we are renting the big billboard that's right next to the Bright Side entrance, and we haven't even designed our sign for it because we've been too busy. Yeah. So whoever had the billboard before still has their sign up, and I'm paying for them, to have continue their advertising. So it's really unfortunate to look at that. And I want to sit down with Tom this week and design something for it. But it's literally just been, everything that we had even to do a summit, it's been a challenge. Yeah. So. Just time. It's just all it is time.
Okay, we'll see. So, but at this point, still like a media location.
Absolutely, I want to still put the media there. So we've got desks. Everything pretty much can go in the next 2 weeks. It's just a matter of making it happen. Yeah, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, but again, another update for people who haven't maybe been following your vlogs recently. Apex Media is a thing. We now offer rolling shots of your car, pictures, videos as well. So if you
shots on track as well.
Shots on track, shots off the track. So if you're coming to the Nürburgring and you want to have like this nice documentation of your trip, hit us up. I believe, Tom, if I'm correct, 299 euros for.
I think it's 250 even.
250, 250 for like set of pictures, like 15 pictures. Yeah, so 250 for video, 250 for pictures and.
And if you're talking about the video, it's not just like it's a really cool video going around your car, rolling video. It's pretty badass. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So hit us up. Moving on to next topic. Let's see, what was it? Yeah, actually, there was a question a long time ago, and I found it very interesting. What do you think that the Nürburgring area is missing in terms of business? So, for example, if everyone was gonna say like car wash.
Yeah.
But I would say actually in terms of restaurants, because everything is Italian here. Yeah. And I think it could benefit have some different type of cuisine.
Indian food.
Indian food.
I'd go there right now. I already had dinner, but I'd go to Indian food right now.
Yeah, I would go now as well. And actually with lots of Brexit people, lots of Brits coming here. And yeah, they want to have Indian food. So if someone could please open up an Indian restaurant, I think that's going to be pretty much the
same. Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting is that I think that the food quality in the last couple of years has really stepped up. Yeah. Look at what 27 came in. They've got some, they really care for what they do. Then the Paddock got new ownership, and their menu has really improved. Yeah. And then we were at Nürburg today. Their menu has really improved in the last year as well. I'm impressed to see that we've actually been getting some higher quality stuff. If I didn't mention it, it's probably been intentional, because there's been some places that the menu has not changed and not improved. Yeah. But those 3 places are something that I've noticed as a direct standout in terms of improved quality.
I like Lindenhof as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know what? You're right. I did not mention them, and that was my mistake. Their menu has really stepped up. Yeah. Really impressed with their food. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So that's just 4 examples. 3 of them in Nürburg, and then 1 in Adenau that have really improved their food tremendously. But at the same time, they all still have a similar type of menu. And yeah, if you could get something, I think Indian would be a hit here.
I think sushi would be cool.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go there.
No? You're not a fan of sushi? Okay, well, some people are.
But they could do like some cook in front of you, type of.
Yeah, like a wok thing, live cooking. Yeah. Anything else like not food related that would be interesting here at the Nürburgring? I guess everything is based around the racetrack, so
Yeah, it's hard to
that's the
say.
issue.
It's really hard to say.
But however, like a proper, how could you get like a proper nightclub here or something?
Yeah, I don't think it would work out too well. I don't really like the whole idea of drinking and.
Well, okay, let's talk just recreational activities. Maybe like a bowling area or laser shooting, what people just sometimes do. Like,
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'd really have to think about that. I think that what's missing is something that Tiffany would, love to do. She's actually doing something like this back at home, is start opening up like a restaurant that has healthy food. I would love before the track to go get something healthy to eat. Something light, something healthy, or pop in and get a sandwich or something that's not, you know what I mean? That's not fried chicken nuggets or something like that from the diner. I think that would be a nice way to go. Would be something like that, or somewhere you could sit down and have a good cup of coffee. That could be nice as well. So
right, moving on to our next topic, and actually I remember that we have still some garage-related questions. First of all, is why don't someone, we did like a live Instagram thing before that, and someone asked, why don't we have a Ford in our collection? Actually, last year we were thinking of getting a Fiesta ST.
yeah, we were. We got the Polos instead.
We got the Polo
which
instead.
I was pretty happy with.
Yeah, why don't we have one? It just turned out, but actually, Von Gitten Jr., a friend of ours, was here to drift in Nordschleife, something you will see later between September and November, later this year, some preview. And we've been talking actually since last year already to do some like collaboration to have like a Mustang RTR here. And I drove the car on a GP track, something you will see later on, and he drove it on the Nordschleife with me, and I was very much impressed with the car. So
I think they're good cars.
they are.
Yeah, I think it's a well-built car. It's got a lot of power, got good balance. I think that people have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, so maybe it will end up here. Another garage-related question is actually, well, again, back when we were doing the summits, one interesting thing happened. You bought the E36 of Alex Hardt.
Right.
You didn't do much driving with it.
No, I didn't do much driving with it. But to be honest with you, I didn't do much. There's a situation where there's a lot of cars. Yeah. And there's a situation where there's a lot of cars, and what I have to find out is, okay, do I want to drive this car today or do I want to drive that car today? The reality is if you jump in like the Porsche and then you go jump in this car, they're two completely different driving experiences, and you want to get in a rhythm. Yeah. Right? And it's nice to get in a rhythm with one car, so it's nice to actually drive a car for an entire day. With the situation that it is here, I'm not really driving too many entire days unless they're track days. Occasionally I came up and Tiffany and the kids stayed home on a Sunday or a Saturday, and I came up for the day and drove. And in those days I was able to stick in one car and do a bunch of laps. But for example, tomorrow, which is Saturday, the whole family's here. I'll get up in the morning, do a couple laps, and then that'll be it, right? And then maybe we'll take out the family car with everybody in and just have a little bit of fun. So I never really got to get into a rhythm with the car. And that E36 is definitely a car that you need to get into a rhythm with. It's a car that is a little bit more work to drive. So you've got to be also in that mindset, okay, I'm going to focus on driving this car and I'm going to learn the car. And to be honest, I just never invested the time in it. And I don't really feel bad about it. The laps that I did do with it, I loved it. It was so light. The feel of it was just fantastic. Had so much grip. When you start getting your higher corner speeds, you just felt everything the car was doing. And that was really cool. So I really loved that about the car, but I didn't have the blocks of time to just go and drive it where, the guys pull in the parking lot, they get out, they do their tire pressures. For me, it was always thinking about what's going on and what else do I want to do. So I never got to invest the time in it. And that leads into what I think was the next question that you had mentioned earlier, was what's going on with the M3 collection. Right. Well,
first, the E36 is sold.
The E36 is sold.
To a company called Custom Race
Tech bought it, yeah.
So I've been, when I'm on a track, it's out there every day lapping. So if you're here at the Nürburgring, you'll be able to see the car probably definitely once a day.
Without a doubt. He's always driving it. He's really enjoying it so far, I think. So I did sell the car, and like I said, I just never got in a rhythm with it. Tim went out, did some really good laps with it. He drove the car, I think it was 4 seconds faster than it had gone before already. So the car has potential.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never got into a rhythm with it. It's a car that's a lot of work to drive. You need to be in a mindset to drive it, and I just never had the time to dedicate to getting there. So that's not why I sold it, but the reason I did sell it was when we got that car, we went through it, and immediately I knew that I wanted to put a new cage in it. I immediately knew that I wanted to do this and that, and I said, well, if I'm going to take everything off of it, I'm putting a new cage on it, I'm going to repaint the car. And then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And next thing you know, I've taken a perfectly good car that wasn't cheap to begin with, and I've invested a ton of time, a ton of energy, and a ton of money into it when it really didn't make sense, right? So I started looking for a project car that would fit into this M3 collection that ranges from the E30 up to this M4, and we found a car, and we're building it right now.
Yeah.
So right now, Alex's old E36 is gone. I have a new E36 shell that's being built, and it's pretty badass. It's pretty damn badass. It's think of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So think of this car, and that's basically what we're doing with the E36.
Yeah. When it will be ready approximately?
You know, I would say in best case end of August, most likely September.
So you will still be able to.
I really hope to be able to do some laps with it end of September, early October timeframe.
So our next big track day after 27th is, I think, October 7th or 8th.
So then I would like to try and make it a goal to have it out for that.
Yeah.
That's a car you're going to want a taxi lap in.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, I mean, I think, you know, we want to be realistic, and we want to, you know, have good goals and everything, but there's really no reason in the world that it won't be the fastest E36 by a very good margin. But so it would be a neat car to ride in.
Yeah.
And
fastest E36 on the Nürburgring.
on the Nürburgring.
So we're not talking about 2,000 horsepower drag
No.
racing cars.
No. Fastest E36 on the Nürburgring, street legal. You know, say all this stuff, right? But it's gonna be a tremendous car. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's gonna be very clean. The concept with this car is to build a clean car, to build a complete car, and to build something that's really special. It's gonna go, without giving too much details of what it has in it, it's gonna have the same big AIM dash that's in this car with everything programmed into it, from fuel consumption. You know, it's going to be pretty neat. It's going to be a really cool car.
Yeah, so excited to see that. Next is going to be the E46. So
yeah, the E46 will be after that. And same thing, the E46 is a great car. You know, the E46 is a car that Morin, he loves those. He stands by it and says it's a great car. So the E46 will be the next car after that we'll build in the winter. We already have the shell for that as well. That's down at Tom Schirmer's now, and basically we just wait for the E36 to be done and then move to the E46.
And eventually E30.
Yeah, and E30 we have a shell for that also. That's again at Tom Schirmer's already, and that'll be something that we start on right when the E46 is done. Then we go to the E30. So the idea is that by next spring, let's say April, May, that the whole collection is complete. So pretty excited about it, you know. And when you think of
where are you going to put them all?
yeah, that's the thing. So I've got a pretty cool plan for a new garage here on the property.
Yeah.
Something really neat actually, that I want to get going latest into the season, so that it's ready, you know, by May of next year for when all these cars are done. I've got some space in the garage at home, so if I unfortunately have to take something back, then I will. I can take a couple cars back, because at the end of the day, I can't drive them all.
Yeah.
But what I do want to have is I want them all here, so that I can say, hey, today I'm driving that, you know, and today I'm going to go enjoy this, I'm going to go enjoy that. But if for part of a season that can't happen, that's not the end of the world. But the concept of what I want to build is essentially a barn or another garage, and that garage will house 6 cars, and that will essentially hold the entire collection of 5.
Maybe add E21 to it.
I don't know. I'm okay keeping it with the M's. Let's don't get carried away here.
Well, it could be like a M, like Im's a race car. Or maybe by the time next M3, M4, because M3 is cancelled, M4 going to be released.
But this is the problem. I mean, it's a continuing thing. You know, you always got to keep going. But the concept is that this barn will hold, this garage, I should say, will hold 6 to 7 cars, probably 7 cars. And that means that I can put these 5 BMWs in it, and then I can put the LT and the Pista in there. And that will be kind of a, you know, complete garage as you would. That'll be where I keep my cars, and then the taxis can stay in this space right here and be easily accessible. Well, yeah, so I still don't have enough space because I didn't mention this car.
And all the other cars that are gonna come up later in the future. So stay tuned for that. To finalize, because we're almost at an hour, or maybe already at an hour, the watches.
Yeah, we got our new watches. It's pretty cool, huh? What do you think of them?
I like it. I mean, I had to trade in another one. It kind of grew on me, and I was like, when I had it in,
Kind of sad.
It was a sad moment, to be honest. So, but yeah, it's growing on me.
I wasn't sad giving mine up. I feel like I upgraded. Yeah, I had one that was in Gulf colors. It was a nice watch. I enjoyed it, but I think that this is a really sharp-looking watch. I mean, when we sat down and designed this watch, I really wanted something that was classic, that was subtle, that, you know, from the black bezel and everything. I just wanted something clean, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a really nice watch. The way the face is cut out and you can see all of the internal workings is really neat. It's a beautiful watch. Beautiful, beautiful watch.
Yeah, so there are going to be in total be made 18 pieces of that.
There are 18 pieces, yeah.
There are 18. So you have number 1, I have number 2, and everything else is, I think, starting.
Well, no, we're gonna keep the first 5. Yep. So the first 5 stay with us, and then there's a very good chance that at the end of when all 18 are sold, I'll probably have 00 made, which is a prototype. You know, I'll keep that, so the 00 prototype will stay unworn, just kind of as the first watch that we ever made. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So people have been asking where can they get them. You can just email us.
Email us, yeah.
Yeah.
info@apex-nürburg.com, and yeah, Diana or whoever, I guess, gets the email will respond and let you know all the details.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put Tom on it. He's the watch guy.
Yeah, he's a watch guy. Everyone's been saying like, oh, Tom flexing with his Rolex. Yeah. So it's pretty funny. Like, if you're a watch guy and you're wearing a watch, Tom gonna scan you before you enter our office. He's like, that guy's wearing €300,000 watch. Yeah. Like, okay, like, if you say so.
Very nice stuff like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, so the watches are absolutely beautiful. Really happy with it. I've been wearing mine for about 6 hours now, and definitely enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. Well, I guess this summarizes the summit.
This concludes the summit.
We're gonna try. Well, we will have to, because if we announce it.
Yeah, if we schedule it, we got to make it happen.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll talk about this over the weekend. We'll set a time, and we'll do side by side where we record it and we do it live, right?
Yeah. Yeah, or it's just going to be a live video, because I think live videos on YouTube can still be, can stay.
We're going to have to work on our video, what we're going to use for our video camera, huh?
Yeah, can be just my phone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Samsung.
It'll be fun. We can just like walk around a bit. So We'll see.
All right.
Good. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, let us know, first of all, what you want us to talk about next time. And second, comment on this video in general. And 3, let us know what you think that the end mileage of the 720S at the end of the year going to be. And at the end of the year, we're going to pick the lucky winner who going to get a free lap in, well, either 600LT, or if you say, well, it's not really the car of my choice, I want to go in something else.
Yeah, pick anything. It could be on a track day. It doesn't matter.
It'll be fine. And soon, hopefully, well, this year still is definitely going to happen, but soon we going to hit 100,000 subs on YouTube. And we're going to do a nice giveaway then as well. What it is, I'm not going to say it, but it's going to be something special.
What's ever left in this bottle of Prosecco.
And something more.
Did you guys see what he left me? He was the last one to pour.
Well, I only had 2 glasses. You had more. So. Good. Thanks for watching, guys. See you then. Bye.